flag going to be our matchup today. SSG, a phenomenal CTF team, second best game type for them with a 68% win percentage, but this is one of their worst CTF maps, only winning half the time on Argyle, a steep disparity between their win percentages on other maps, and it shows that there's a little bit more of a disruptive flow on this map than I think a lot of people expect, and this is an opportunity for Native White to really take advantage in this series.
Yeah, as important as these snipers are on this map, especially in the hands of any one of these professional players, great body shot on McQuinn as Gilkey comes in for the cleanup, but as much as these snipers are important, I think after the opening break, grapple is so important as well. If you can get into your opponent's base, sometimes it can be easy for them to spawn up and clear you out of that base. With that grapple, you can grapple up, down, around, get really creative with that movement. Watch out for some crazy grapple plays for players that like to sneak behind enemy lines, stay alive as long as possible, and be a nuisance to your opponents.
Yeah, I mean, this is like a flanker's dream map, right? Being able to find those soft underbelly plays. And that's where a player like Bound in particular succeeds, right? A very fast, aggressive entry fragger who oftentimes, if he doesn't meet resistance, he's going to be that player going in for that flag. And Stellar, well, he's going to help him at every step along the way, right? Hitting snipe shots left and right. He'll pick up ammo whenever anything's left by, but there's just no one to stop Bound.
Love that Stellar shot coming in out of Stellar, then the denial grenade over towards that long haul angle. Nobody able to get through to the psychic side, and Stellar keeping two players at bay. The body shot finishing off with the BR. Just like that, not only do Space Station Gaming get themselves a cap, but they even get themselves map control, putting Native White 3 down once again.
All the players at Native White just trapped in the back of base, and it's easy pickings for Stellar. But he's gonna have to back down for now, but his team staying forward on this map, and Native White need to get a clean wipe, need to just be able to get out of this boa constrictor stranglehold that Space Station has had since the start of this game, and we're finally starting to see them let loose just a bit. But right when you think they're gonna get forward, they're pushing them right on back.
Sniper rifle in the hands of Barcode. He makes his way over to the psychic side. Meanwhile, Eco and Stellar getting back-to-back kills. Bound already in the base. Luckily, Barcode is able to trade out his life, but it's not going to be enough to stop Eco from running that flag forward. Now we're seeing Penguin start to get in position. Eco does end up going down. Another round of slays will be needed for SSG to continue to relay this flag forward.
Now Penguin, he had a great angle onto that flag, but players coming from underneath is going to force him out of this position. And now when things aren't going right, when you're not getting the position that you want, how do you respond? And well, Bound, he was able to find his way right into the back of a player, and now with two snipers in their hands, Space Station have everything they could possibly want, and kills are going to go in their favor. Bound's lighting them up on one side, Penguin has the other lane locked in. Native White is in a tough situation.
Not only is Bound's movement incredible, but because he understands the timing and the rhythm of every single map, his movement's so good. He's able to anticipate what his opponents are going to do just by peeking in. He knew that player was going over toward the vent side, got himself an easy kill with that sniper rifle, and the rest of his team are allowed to play aggressive through that. And now Bounds right back off of spawn, right back into the play. Native White really stuck on their third of the map, while SSG are controlling the mid.
It's so impressive how Bound's able to play on this map, because we see right there how much of an impact he had, but he's on an island, right? He doesn't have the support of his team. He's working in isolation, but he's able to find kills, find impactful plays, open up lanes for his team all by his lonesome, and it allows the rest of his players to have such an easy way along the map. Players like Eco and Stellar, when they're able to let the Hulk loose and be able to dissect what's going on around them, that's when they're at their most effective. And Eco is going to swim in great waters if this play continues to happen this way. As you see, he's 12-5 already. You're letting Bound do his thing. He doesn't have the most impressive stat line at 7-4, but every kill Bound has gotten has changed this game.
Bound playing absolutely lights out with this camouflage. That's back-to-back-to-back consecutive kills in favor of Bound for SSG, as once again Native White continue to struggle. They continue to come up and die one at a time. They're dying staggeringly, not able to get any kind of team shot together whatsoever. Now you have Penguin as comfortable as possible. He's sitting in the middle of the map with a sniper rifle, the loudest gun in the game, just putting a beacon on his head, but hitting shot after shot. Meanwhile, another flag gets put into the chamber. 3-0 for SSG so far.
3-0 on the scoreboard and 4-0 on the respawns. Everyone from Native White saw the respawn screen, and now they're able to refill right away, right? There's no counter attack for Native White throughout this game. That's why we're starting to see the score piled on. Very rarely on Argyle do you see 3 flag caps in a game. We're not even halfway through, and Space Station have a 3-0 lead. This has just been phenomenal Halo through and through. Everyone's doing their responsibility, and Stellar, he just got his second death of the game. Native White need to pick up the slays if they're going to get back in this.
Something needs to change for Native White. It looks like they are able to find the kills that they were looking for. 3 down go SSG as McWin sets up high and is trying to deal with the final player, and Eco is being an absolute nuisance to the base. Finally, Eco does end up going down. Camouflage coming up and a flag being counterpulled here for Native White. Maybe this is the opportunity they've been looking for.
Yeah, it all starts with McWin finding these kills in the middle of the map. Him dissecting SSG is going to allow that flag to get further and further. Eco really the last player in position, but Stellar, he was on the flag. Can he stop the flag himself? He got it at the score line. Oh my God, it's on the goal line. This is still a
goal line stance.
Oh, this is still a chance for SSG to stop this flag. Penguin has the sniper as well.
A goal line stand coming in, and that flag still somehow hasn't found its way towards the home. Gilkey gonna dive in for it. The body shot comes in. They're able to clean him up, but Barcode gets sent right out of there. Eco comes with a touch, trying to play for the return here. Bodies are hitting the floor. Look at all of the chaos that we are seeing here. Tapping Fun's finally going to be able to stay alive here for Native White. Can they get the return? Can they relay this flag in? Or will Bound continue to shred with that perfect kill? Not going to be enough. We see Native White on the board, but we also see Native White going 3 down.
That was the hardest earned flag in the game, and now it opens up the opportunity for Space Station to get right in and find a counter cap immediately. You see Native White struggling at the back of their base as Stellar starts to rip them to shreds. Tapping can't go anywhere. Stellar, he's in the stratosphere, and Space Station's getting themselves a 4-1 lead. Look at this flag just fly away.
Native White might have been able to capture that flag, but the counter comes in so quickly here for SSG. Right back on the board. It's once again a 3-cap game, and it's funny because Argyle is one of the harder maps to capture flags on, but so far we've seen 5 on the board here for both of these squads. Just 1 more for SSG to put down Native White in this game number 1.
It's so interesting because on this map, the telltale sign of you playing Argyle is usually these flags taking multiple slays to get to home. But Space Station, we're talking about 7 to 15 second flag caps. These guys are just running and there's no resistance, right? It's a hot knife going through butter every single time we're on Space Station's POV. And it's because of the 2 main features of this roster. Stellar and Eco have been ripping them to shreds, constantly having their way getting into the base. And look at them, they have sniper and camouflage working in tandem as they're hunting down the Aussie. Nothing is going right for Native White.
Not only was that kill huge for Eco, putting his 19th on the board, but it allowed them to steal that camouflage away from McWin before he was able to activate it. Now Eco gets to use it right against him. The back smack onto Tapping Punch. Stellar follows up with the snipe onto Gilkey. Then Eco is now bullying McWin at the moment. Kill after kill right off of spawn. Native White getting squad wiped. The timing not right for them to pull the flag just yet. So again, they continue to slay. They're not going to force it. Even though they didn't get the flag pull when they were 4 down, they understand that all they got to do is slay out again. Keep that flag moving once again. 3 down. This time that flag is already started. Almost seeing an overkill. Gilkey, don't give him the over. You may not win the game. Just don't give him the over. Good God.
Stellar just can't miss. He's 23-5. Eco's putting this one away, and Space Station have devastated Native White. It wasn't close. Stellar and Eco both had more kills than the rest of Native White, like, combined. It felt like 23 and 22 between the two of them. Combine that up for 45 kills, and that might be one of the most efficient games of Argyle flag you will ever see. Stellar was flawless. Eco working in between him and Bound continuously, and although Penguin didn't have an incredible stat line, what he was doing was just acting as that anchor, constantly filling where he was needed and hitting critical snipe shots when they needed them the most. But this is just one of the cleanest games you can possibly have in a tournament, and it's not just any stage of the tournament, Tony. We're in the winners final.
Space Station Gaming constantly reminding us that the moment you sleep on them, the moment you forget who they are, they're gonna remind you that they are those guys. Stellar, Eco, Penguin, Bound, they are the real deal. And you just saw not only their slang ability at work, but also the objective efficiency. Getting 5 caps on Argyle, I swear to you guys, it's not easy for you. Those are your casual fans who don't play ranked as much as we do. It is not easy getting 5 caps on Argyle, but SSG seemingly making it look easy with time to spare. And that was just because of the kill efficiency, the constant pressure that they pushed on Native White. Native White had a hard time getting off of their third of the map, let alone touching the flag.
Yeah, I think we saw like one solid push from this Native White roster, and even when they did get this flag back, I mean, look at this guy. Stellar made it hard, right? He's gonna get right into the face of both these guys, put it on the goal line, pulls out a flag, and it's gonna be another 45 seconds till this flag's capped. And then once they do capture the flag, Space Station's in perfect position to play the counter.
Game number 1 goes comfortably in the hands of SSG. Now my question is do Native White have it in them to answer back in game 2? Can they press that mental reset button? Say, okay, look, obviously they're a good Argyle team. Obviously they're an amazing capture the flag team. Can they bounce back in this game number 2? Because if you allow SSG to dominate the same way they did that game number 1, this is going to be a 3-0. Too much momentum to give one team, especially the team this great. Native White have to make their stance right here on a first. They have to keep it close, and in my opinion, they have to get the win here.
Yeah, I don't think they can afford to go 2-0 down in this series. I think it'll be a 3-0 sweep if that happens. Slayer is a necessity for Native White to win in this series, and how do you respond when you are so thoroughly beaten? It is a tough question, and that's where you're going to rely on your veteran on the roster, on the player that cracked the top 25 of all-time list. That's where you need Mikwin to step up and pave the way. Players like Barco, this is their first real foray into pro Halo, is Halo Infinite. They don't have a ton of experience behind them. You really are counting on your LAN champion of Mikwin to find a way to beat this scary Space Station Gaming roster. I mean, remember how good this group of this core 3 of Penguin, Eco, and Stellar were at the beginning of this year. They looked unstoppable when Renegade was on that roster. Obviously, they've had their growing pains since adding Bound, but I feel like Bound has finally found his spot on this team, and we're going to see the next evolution of this Space Station Gaming roster.
And, you know, speaking of Stellar and Eco, we talk about the fact that they dropped 45 kills and 11 assists between the duo, and not even dying double-digit times about that entire game. 45 kills and 11 assists just between the duo. To put that into perspective, what do we got? We got 20, 28. There was only 32 kills between the entire Native White as a unit. That is video game numbers right there.
Yeah, that's like playing Madden with against the AI on Rookie. You know what I'm saying? That's truly numbers that you just don't see in competitive Halo. And that's the ceiling of this Space Station Gaming roster, right? Is when things are going right, they are the best team in the game. There's no question about it. The dominance that we saw from them at the beginning of Halo Infinite and during Halo 5 under that Splice banner, we know what their highs can be. The problem is there's just so much variety in the type of space station you're gonna get. When their lows are low, they're low. You know what I'm saying? We see them drop games to teams that have no business taking games on them. And that's where I think Space Station are finally feeling that pressure after underperforming a couple tournaments in a row, that they need to come back and establish why they consider themselves some of the best to ever play Halo.
Well, I mean, the same way we did give them praise for that 45 kill performance, I will say they've so far contributed 1 kill out of the 8 total here in the early game here. Native White coming out swinging and doing so dominantly in the early game, but this might not matter in the long run. Eventually, once SSG heat up, they might give the steamroll. In 18 seconds, we will see an active camouflage coming up. If SSG get their hands on it, they could come back in this game, but in that same breath, Native White could widen their gap. Bound understands the situation, so he opens up with a huge double kill. One shot trying to stay alive, allowing his teammates to come right back in. Right as the active camouflage is coming up, Bound making plays.
Yeah, Bound just having his way on this map. This is the second camouflage he's gonna get, and no one has been able to put him down. Every time he gets weak, he's somehow able to stay forward, but also stay alive. He's in the right spot at the right time constantly, and is finding kill after kill. There's just no one in Native White's position to follow up on the damage that they're getting down on some of these players. They just need to play a little bit closer. Instead, Bound's just having his way against this team and using it with the commando, and it's a heavily nerfed commando of that, but Bound still making it look mighty powerful in his hands.
9-2 right now, but when you're slaying like that, you don't need to have any assist on the board. You allow your teammates to do all the assisting here. Single-handedly trying to will his team right back in the game, currently down by 5 kills despite the performance, and almost take that looked like a teammate to me as SSG, and they're going 3 down. Native White take all that momentum that SSG was starting to build, send it right back at him. The 4th one's gonna fall as well with killing spree by Barcode, and now it's SSG gonna have to spawn up and try to make something happen. Looks like they do just that.
Barcode is able to get behind everyone, but no one from Native White's there, and he's gonna have to retreat and constrict back onto this map. While Native White start to fall back, you start to see the surge of Space Station. They're hunting them down, and it's gonna come down to this final stand. Barcode and tapping buttons just can't handle the duo of Eco and Penguin. They fly through. It's a double kill for Eco. I don't think he's done either. He's gonna hear these footsteps to his left, and Gilkey's up next.
But every time SSG answer back with a bit of a run, Native White do something to extend that scoreline. It doesn't they're not winning like every single individual battle. Right now, they're finding these 2v1s, even these 3v2s, and they're capitalizing on it. You know, we start off as a 5-kill game, quickly became 6, and now it's up to 7, slowly starting to get out of hand here in favor of Native White. Bound does end up getting a nasty double kill, but what happens? Tapping Buds and McWin, along with Tapping Buds, getting back-to-back kills, putting SSG 3 down. I love the individual plays coming in, but right now, Native White's teamwork already had them 35 kills in, counting, just 15 away from tying up the series.
Yeah, and that heat wave from McWin might put it all to an end. Bound was able to get the kill, but Barcode's here, and he can find this cleanup, find Bound, and get that heat wave back in his team's hands. Bound goes down, and Barcode, I think he's really going to be the player that has a chance of closing this one down, getting that heat wave in his hands. Still a little bit of camouflage to work with, and the rest of SSG to put on the respawn screen. 2 go down, and that's where Native White has been so effective in this game, is when they find the kills on Space Station, they're quick to clean up the rest. They're not letting the spawners come in and help reinforce. They're consistently getting them 2, 3, 4 down. It's never a single pick and stalemate.
Diamond Nade's coming out, trying to get any kind of damage. Entry damage is Bound, but now the entry damage coming right back at him. He tries to take height, but the melee comes in. Barcode seemingly coming out of nowhere and then doing damage onto Penguin, enough for his teammates again to come in for the cleanup kill. It doesn't matter who gets the kill when it comes to Native White. It's not about individual performance right now. It's about using that teamwork to overwhelm Space Station Gaming with the numbers, and they've been doing just that. 7 kills away from coming out with the win. Space Station Gaming, they have to start valuing their life. They have to start lessening their debts right here, right now. Looks like they're doing just that as a 3 down goes in favor of Native White, with only losing 1 in return. SSG now having that map control. Can they come back?
I mean, when SSG starts playing at their highest level, no one can keep up with them. And right now, we're starting to see glimpses of that, but then there's cracks, right? And those cracks can build into the foundation of a setup and just tear it apart. Penguin was able to stay alive, but they're gonna have to win this fight for camouflage and then make a play after. Their second game dangling by a thread right now. And you can see Native White not really in a hurry to push out and give Space Station any free deaths. They're just gonna goad Space Station into making the wrong play, baiting that camouflage, playing for trades, because trades win games.
Stellar Penguin back-to-back kills. Bound thought he was gonna get the second one, but didn't realize the flanking tapping buns coming in, shredding him with the sidekick. Teammate comes in for the cleanup kill. Somehow tapping Bun staying alive. He has 2 enemies on the right, 2 on the left. Somehow he's able to get out of that situation, but one of his duos go down to McWin. Can he get this angle onto Bound? A sick angle, and it looks like the final player will end up going down. Tapping Buds, catching some crazy angle over toward the Frig side, doing just enough damage for that nade to finish out Bound, and that's gonna be the 50th kill. Native White on the board.
Yeah, and you know, that's a fantastic game from Native White because everyone participated. We saw moments from every player, but I really have to give the compliments, the highest regards to Tapping Button and what he's been able to do in this tournament. I think there's a lot of hype coming onto Barcode. He's this, you know, first player from Australia really to have waves in the scene. But if you go back to 2016, 2017, Halo 5, Tapping Buttons was in that position. He was this phenom coming in from Mexico, and you know, it didn't work out with Evil Geniuses, but he's gotten his second chance here with Native White, and I think he has just proven to be an incredible asset to this roster. The way he's been able to find kills on the map, he feels as if he has this gravitational well around him, and he sucks players into a gunfight, and it's a gunfight that he's so confident to win most of the time. He truly is a force on the map, and I think this Native White roster just plays very complementary with each other on that Slayer. They're able to take down Space Station, and although it was a great start, we did see Space Station start to claw their way back in towards the end, but Tapping Button saw the signs too early, shut it down, got those final kills, and honestly, phenomenal game from Tapping Buttons.
It's always so surprising to me. Tapping Buttons has such a great long-range shot, but he doesn't he doesn't only use that. Like, he doesn't sit there and over-challenge from across the map. He used that long-range shot to get that initial damage. Then he gets right into the action. A very fast player, a very good flanking player as well. I think Tapping Buttons plays like well beyond his years. It's no wonder why he was the #1 player coming out of Latin America. Put up 14 kills, 5 assists to go along with the 3.7 KDA in that oh-so-important game #2. Now we have an even more important swing game 3. It's going to be an objective. We know SSG are one of the most objective efficient teams, but Native White do have the momentum right now.
Yeah, this map is really going to be a fight between 2 of the biggest Slayers on the team. Tapping Buttons and Bound. Expect everything to come down between these 2. Tapping Buttons trying to get away with that Shroud screen. It's not going to work out, but I really have my eyes on it too, because while Tapping Buttons was 14 and 12, playing his game, Bound on the other side was having a phenomenal game too, and I think he's gonna follow that up with just as strong of a game 3. He was 18 and 11, really trying to will his team back into that game.
Bit of a 2v1 here as Stellar and Penguin going up against a Barcode, but the spawners coming on the PD side. He gets the reinforcements he's looking for, but somehow even the reinforcements, not enough. Stellar putting that Bulldog to work, taking down both McWin and Barcode, and now we have a setup locked in. Stellar manning this A side. We see Eco addressing the subway side of the map as well. A bit of a transitional ball hole, but I can only imagine that if they get overwhelmed, they're going to rotate that ball. However, Penguin goes down. This might be bad for SSG.
We're starting to see SSG get this ball, but Native White had an opportunity. The difference between Native White and SSG's position right now, though, comes down to the power weapon. Stellar has the shotgun, Bound has the red gun, and they can make all the difference. Basically, it gives Bound the ability to challenge into 1v2s, but he gets a little overconfident right there, going on that flank.
Double kill.
But Stellar picks it right back up, and this is what's so deadly about this Space Station roster, is the second they know a position, they're not going to let you go away. They're so effective at counting their numbers, right? Making sure that players don't get left behind and that they're able to finish collapses. And that's why what seems like a 10 to 15 second hold can quickly run into 30, 40 seconds of unaccounted time.
What also impresses me, like Stellar with that ball movement, like him not being a sitting duck with that ball. You notice that, what, 3 times in a row with his back 8 setup, he drops the ball, gets the slays and double kill, goes back to picking up the ball, sees the PD spawns, pulls out his shotgun, drops the ball again, gets himself another double kill. Now he's 8-0 right now with the most ball time on the team, as he's just grabbing that ball time, cheeking it away, dropping when necessary, putting down the damage as his team needs him to do. Stellar playing lights out here for SSG, and there's a large reason why they've been able to accumulate this lead to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, hey, the Gilkey finally shuts down Stellar, one short of that killing frenzy, and we start to see Native White find a little bit of life as the triple kill comes in. But Stellar, he's not letting this one stay by. Look how fast he is to get into this front lines, and the rest of SSG is there to follow. They're gonna try to fly into the face of Native White, but tapping buttons once again. He's that player that when they need for them to find the slays the most, he's there. But Penguin's playing that mop-up duty. The janitor he is, he's gonna be able to pull this ball away. Phenomenal break from Space Station.
A huge break indeed. Penguin with that triple kill, single-handedly wrecking that setup that Native White was starting to accumulate. And now look at Stellar with yet another double kill. The man is 11-2, chasing down Gilkey for the 3rd, but eventually, somehow, his team go 3 down. Stellar by himself has the awareness to grab that ball, puts it out of reach for Native White, even able to put a player down to 1 shot while doing so. Native White, they want to get aggressive with this. They have the numbers. They have to punish SSG.
One of the things I love about players like Stellar and Bound is when you're on their POV, oftentimes you see they feel free on the map, right? They don't really have these constrictions that other players have. They're going to constantly flow into the right spots and meet minimal resistance because they have an understanding of timings and positional halo that very few players can ever get to that level. But the problem is one of the players that has gotten to that level is Mikwin, and when he's been able to find kills, they've been impactful thus far, as it looks like Native White's just going to be able to win this rotation onto the ball, but it's not quick to get time, right? They're not able to pick this one up right away, and it's going to allow Space Station to put immediate resistance onto this ball.
I love how you were complimenting McWin and his awareness, and like, hey, that front seat just runs out of ammo in both ammos. It's like,
hey, you know, when you got power weapons, it happens. You know what I'm saying? Ever since the Red Rack update, we're talking season 1 of HCS, Tony. He has no problem. That man's going on for a killing frenzy. The Red Rack update, we got some different problems to worry about.
Just 26 more seconds for SSG to close out this game, not counting Native White out just yet, but it's going to be tough for them to come back in this game and stop SSG. But I guess getting huge plays like Barcode did, taking down Stellar, now going to move up, able to get the double kill as well with Eco. So now it's going to be Bound and Penguin by themselves. 3 going down here. Bound has to make a play, and it's not going to happen. That ball still on the ATM. Native White not able to get a hold of it. In fact, Stellar right off of spawn throwing denial grenades immediately, slowing Native White down just that much more.
And Stellar's constrained to stay at tower because that red gun's coming up, right? You have to get that stalker rifle in your hands. No way you're gonna leave such a powerful weapon behind, and well, he's already got a ton of damage in, and Stellar, he's gonna go on a rampage over here. These players are not ready for him. It's 2 that go down, and it could be a 3rd. No, Mikwin shuts him down just in time, but who else but Bound there to clean it back up, get that stalker rifle back in his team's hands. And he's, oh, look at the curb slide technique. Hey, yo, he picks up that ball, right, Tony? Throws it off as he jumps up and then uses the curb slide technique to get it behind A to just buy enough time for his teammates to at least fight for this ball. And then if they lose it, he still has the quick exit to try to throw this out through middle. Bound is a one-man army at the back of A, and he's keeping Native White off this ball.
Bound with that stalker rifle in hand right now, just wants to do as much damage as possible, able to take down McWin. Penguin going to be awarded the kill onto Gilkey as well, and we talk about it, objective efficiency all the time when it comes to SSG. The moment you lose numbers against them, they are going to get some cheeky ball time in. 16 more seconds, and they're not even in their setup at the moment here. Barco trying to do damage onto Penguin from across the map. Gilkey does find the kill onto Stellar. That break does end up happening. Eco should go down here eventually, not before being able to take down Gilkey, and those are the kills that will haunt you.
Tapping buttons. This is the last line of defense, and Balance that entry frag player. He always wants to get behind you. He wants to be getting into these engagements, but the problem is that the rest of his team is killing everyone before he has a chance. Penguin's on the triple. Mikwood's the over. That's game over for round one. No chance for Native White to get back to this ball.
Yeah, at this point, they ran out of time, and even off a spawn, not able to get back into the action. Penguin does hit the black screen, but round number one going to SSG again in this oh so important swing game 3. Why don't we take a look at some of the replays that led to this SSG win? That triple kill by Penguin. Dirty. He gets, oh my gosh.
And so much momentum going into this second round. It's a great overkill from Penguin. It gets him to 17, but I really want to highlight what Stellar's been able to do in this game as Gilkey hunts down people with his shotgun. Look at his kill count, 19 and 8 thus far in this game. He's the 5th best in HCS through season 2 of getting kills per minute, right? And it's not KD that really matter at the end of the day when we're talking about objectives. It's how much impact you can have on the map and how fast you can do it, right? Averaging 1.7 kills per minute, you know that Mikwood's finding engagements on the map, and he has been feasting thus far on this oddball. This is his bread and butter. When there's a singular objective that focuses players away across the map, that's where Stellar has a doctorate in just being at the right spot, right time to get kills, and it shows on the scoreline right now. Double positive at 20 and 10. A huge reason why this Space Station roster is having so much success right now.
Shout out again to Snow Stats for providing us all the intel that we need. And shout out to Stellar's long range BR that's gonna shred one. Not done yet though, having 3 more players of Native White over toward the seaside. Stellar quickly recognizing the situation, gonna pull right back out. Reset just a little bit in a 4v4 scenario. You cannot be the first team to go down. Native's coming in. Native White trying to force their way over toward the purple side, but SSG doing a great job of holding them back.
Stellar, he's not been a stranger to picking up this assault rifle and using it to get some close kills. Mikwood just wins with that disruptor, playing the corner that I don't think Stellar ever expected to look into. And now Penguin has to do his best to survive, but there's just nothing he can do. With rockets coming up, it's going to be imperative for Native White to get away with these. And so far, Mikwood's leading the charge with these kills, but nothing's for free on this map. You're going to have to overslay if you want to get away with rockets.
You talked about Stellar with his assault rifle, but McWin putting another automatic weapon to work in that disruptor. Almost ended up getting himself a nasty triple kill. Eventually, SSG do end up going 3 down. Native White with those numbers look to move in position, get close to that ball. Finally able to get sight lines on his Stellar. Does a decent amount of damage. Trying to stop Native White from locking in that setup, but it's not going to be enough. Native White haven't locked in. In fact, tapping buns with that Stalker rifle, able to take down Bound. Cross map shots looking good, but Stellar not going to have any part of that.
Stellar shuts him down. The rest of his team is there, and it's 4 that go down for Native White. And now let's take a look at how Space Station set themselves up on this map. Do they expand right away, or do they stay close to the chest and let Native White push into them? And so far, you're seeing they're not overextending into their lanes. They're going to allow Native White to push up quickly onto this map, and now it's going to be an all-out fight towards this ball. And it's a dangerous position to play, but you're seeing what happens when you keep your BRs close, right? It's easy to get these trade outs, but there's also the downside of once you lose numbers, it's so easy for the rest of the opponents to collapse. And Penguin learns the lesson the hard way as he goes down. Native White able to completely obliterate the setup of Space Station, and you're seeing the risk reward factor of these setups right away. And Native White, they take advantage of a moment of weakness for Space Station.
Time and time again in round number 1, SSG were able to punish Native White for losing numbers, and now we get to see if Native White can do the same thing to them. Kill after kill going in their favor, but now a 3-man push from SSG over towards the B side. Eco finds himself 1 into McWin. That's going to start the break. That perimeter player goes down. The rest of SSG start to flood in here, taking control of that 50% portion, overwhelming Native White. SSG find himself 3 frags, and with that ball time, rockets every single resource on the map. That was a textbook break coming out of Space Station Gaming.
I think textbook is the correct way to describe that. It's almost methodical how Space Station are so effective at collapsing together. The way that they move, they don't have any wasted time between players. We saw basically a flood of 3 players moving forward as they worked onto that collapse. But Stellar, a little bit of a mishap, channeling his inner pocket, wasted 2 rockets, and this is going to give opportunity for Native White to get onto this ball. It's up to Kevin Eco Smith to stop everything, but he's only going to be able to take 1. But that ball still in an open position for Penguin to play for. Somehow, Space Station's going to stabilize from this position.
I've been trying to channel my inner pocket for a while, one of the best ever graced the mic, but you know, don't follow his lead when it comes to the rocket launcher. You might end up in a little bit of trouble here as Barcode putting that bandit rifle to work, gets himself a nasty double kill as Space Station Gaming once again losing those numbers, and once again Native White going to add to their lead. In fact, going to take the lead here. Eco and Penguin up toward the purple side. It looks like Bound's gonna trail them. We have 2 members going up purple, 2 members going up mid. Tapping Button's finally gonna get into the fight here and wins an individual gunfight against Stellar. In fact, turns it into a double, almost a triple on the final player. But doesn't matter if that 4th player goes down. There's only so much that Eco can do by himself. Native White continue to hold.
It's a great play by Eco to move back to get those spike grenades, but it's a better play by Midwin to immediately expand and get the cross. And that timing that he had to give up to go get those spike grenades ends up costing his life, and it's going to allow Native White to get 10-15 seconds of time just because the numbers are going to continually favor Native White throughout this fight. But Eco back at it again. He's ready to create some havoc. Tapping Buttons, able to get both those rockets away, but they're not going to have the impact that Native White wants as Space Station wins the rotation for ball.
Big stop by Eco to not allow rockets to become as efficient or as effective as they could have been on the map. Penguin making a shroud window. Not expecting Joki and Tapping Buttons to break their way through, but that's exactly what happens here. Native White's teamwork and their willingness to stack numbers, bait and switch, and really overwhelm individual players of SSG is working for them. Look at their lead they're able to accumulate. They're almost ending this round number 2 and tying things up. This is going to be one heck of a series.
Yeah, it's going to be one last desperation push from Space Station to get towards this ball. Bounce trying to do his best, but Midwin, he has the last line of defense. He gets the trade. They all go down. Round 3 on its way.
Eminem warned us about that. They all fall down like toy soldiers, and that's exactly what happened there. This was a big play by Tapping Buttons. It took him a while to realize that there was like 2 members pushing purple, 2 pushing mid. Like, he's still waiting for the B side. Once he recognizes that, he immediately makes a play. I love that out of Tapping Buttons. Love the melee out of Eco as well, breaking right over toward the B stair side, but found in the middle of nowhere. Half the members of SSG on the black screen, the other half trying to get a little bit of cheeky time. Native White forcing their way through. Penguin coming in out of nowhere with those rockets.
Tapping Button's been effective at getting this ball, but you know, 51 seconds of time for his team, but also 30 kills. Tapping Button's doing so much on this map thus far, and really impressive displays from him. Right? It was a stellar show to start this game, remember, Tony? But look at the international players. Barcode and Tapping both catching up in the Slays department, and the player we were really counting on a lot for this game, Bound, slowing down quite a bit. If SSG is going to win this series, this game, they need to have Bound step it up in this 3rd round. He's 16-29 right now, but I expect Bound to have a better finish by the end of this game.
Native White dropping the shroud to allow that ball to get into the subway side, but Space Station Gaming somehow find the entrance over toward the backside here. Tapping Buttons has to get the kill, and that's exactly what happens. Stellar hits the black screen, even able to get those cross-map shots onto Penguin. Now Penguin and Bound have to slow it down, recover their shields, get a double push over toward the C side, but Native White know exactly where the pressure is coming from. I talked about Tapping Buttons' long-range shot. You see him put it into effect there, but he's not done. Now he wants to get close range. He's not comfortable from long range because he has a nasty long-range shot. He wants to get in your face. He wants to make you uncomfortable, keep you on your back foot, and you're seeing his efficiency and effectiveness on the map. Tapping Buttons almost with a 40 bomb right now. He is taking over.
I mean, there's just nothing that can stop this guy at the moment. Everything is going his way, slay after slay, and it's so impressive because he can fill into any role that he needs at any time, right? If he needs to be that entry fragger, he's going in your face. If he needs to slow down, stay in the back and watch a lane, he's there to do so. He just fills. He's a chameleon on the map, able to fill in whatever role is needed, but all his teammates fell down. It's up to Tapping to win some fights. Eco's able to get the trade, and that's going to change the ball's possession as Stellar throws a rocket into the top of Palm Tree. Now, that's a strong Palm Tree. Let me tell you what, in the future, Palm Trees are holding pretty strong right there. Am I right, Tony? That thing should be blown to pieces.
Someone get that palm tree over to Cali. That's the finest of trees right there, taking a rocket and still standing. 35-11 lead. Native White still having a hold right now. Again, it's all about that teamwork, and really this is the man that you're seeing in a long-range battle against Eco. Tapping Buns doesn't miss a shot. You were seeing it time and time again from long range, close range, and Bound getting the triple kill. But even after that happens, SSG still find himself 3 down. Nades are coming in, and so are Native White.
Right. At the end of the day, this game's going to come down to who performs best in the clutch, right, Tony? We're in round 3. Everything's on the line right now. How can you perform at your highest level? And thus far, if history's going to prove itself right, this is Space Station's bread and butter. 67% of the time, round 3 oddball goes their way. On the other side, Native White, when they play against top 12 teams, 0% win percentage in oddball. They need to change history here. They need to show that they've been improving in this game and be able to clutch up when it matters the most. When you're in the clutch factor, how does this Native White team respond?
Well, as of right now, Native White are proving just that. You know, I mean, the stats are the stats, and I'm not going to take anything from them, but the eyeball test is saying that Native White are having a better round, and so is the scoreboard right now. I'm loving the teamwork. I'm loving the individual plays being put across the board. As I say that, SSG still had that subway side hold. Barcode down to 1 shot. Absolute. Goes right into the Shadow Realm, comes right back out, but gets put back down. McWin now having responsibility of controlling the subway side and trying to buy time for the rest of his team to get in position. Not gonna happen because Penguin and SSG coming in with rockets, stalker rifle, and the kitchen sink. SSG finally able to counter that overwhelming teamwork, that overwhelming numbers control that Native White have been using for the last 2 rounds now.
All right, now look at the road that Native White has to fight through to get here, but Tapping Buttons, he's already made his way towards that ball, and you're starting to see things are getting scary at home. Penguin left maybe a little bit too early. Native White gets the better spawn. Bound's trying to hold him off, but it's going to be up to a Penguin to slide in and find these kills. Tapping Buttons is getting that ball. It's time for Penguin to do his work, but the nades keep him at bay. This is free time that Native White has been able to steal away, and it all started with the quick flank from Tapping Buttons. 43-31 is this guy. He's going insane. Penguin is still waiting for his teammates to get there, getting damage down, but there's just no support for him.
And it really does feel like free time indeed. You know, it wasn't too long ago the SSG had the subway side setup, and I don't know how Native White were able to flip it, but they did, and they add to their lead 63-40 at the moment. McWin taking a ton of damage, but doing everything he can to stay alive. The slippery snake he is, and now a 4v2 situation. Eco ends up going down a 4v1. They get their hands on that ball. Every ball time is earned so far in this game. Nothing is given, and as of right now, Native White somehow outplaying SSG, which is crazy to think about.
Native White took a gamble when they built this roster. They went out and they got the best player from 2 regions, Australia and Mexico. And right now, those two players are leading them to victory. 85 kills, double 40 bombs from these guys, leading them into this round 3 when they haven't been able to show in past games and past matches that they can clutch up in the round 3. These 2 players are willing the team forward, showing massive improvements as this roster gets more and more repetitions with each other.
Barco trying to come with the denial grenades on that ball, but somehow Bound and SSG still able to move it over to the subway side, and the first kill goes to SSG. Make that the first 2. Barcode answers right back. Now wanted to make his way over towards Subway. He's single-handedly disrupting the setup that SSG had. He's able to get a 2 assists. They'll make that 3 assists and a kill. He participated in every one of those kills within the squad wipe that Native White were able to get here, and now they're about 10 seconds away from coming out with this game. SSG in desperation mode. Stellar breaking right through, getting himself a huge kill. Gilkey watching the angle from the bottom mid side like a rook on a chessboard, but it looks like he's going to be taken down by Bound.
And right now, Native White, they are in danger of throwing away this game. Players are going down. They let a piece fall off the board, and now Space Station, they're laddering their way up. We talked about who's been clutch in round 3. It's been Space Station time and time again. Native White, they've got 1 or 2 good pushes left in them to break this thing open, and Tapping was able to open up the floodgates, but the rest of the players need to push through. It's Stellar and Eco that need to hold the line. Eco goes down. Barcode's knocking in. They're trying to get this ball away. Stellar not able to survive. Miquin gets him down. And now suddenly what's neck and neck is in Native White's favor. This is their game to lose.
And you gotta feel for Stellar because he wants to play the ball over towards mid-map, but he realized that 2 members of Native White are breaking through the purple. Can't throw it out, can't keep it toward the Subway side. There's nowhere that ball can go except in Native White's hands. They're gonna take the win. They're Native White going up 2-1 in the series.
And Tapping was 1 away from the 50 bomb. And Native White gets the performance they need from their international superstars to win a game where they haven't won it before. A game 3, round 3 oddball against a top 3 team. They haven't been able to get that pressure off their back until now. And now, they have control of this series. After game 1, no one would have ever expected the game to be at this moment, Tony. A 2-1 lead for Native White. This is their chance to punch their way in the grand finals and to respond back with one of the best responses that I've ever seen to a devastating game 1 loss.
And I can't help but think back at what Mikowski said about the teams that have been scrimming and that have been putting in the work, looking better and better right now. You know, back when I was playing basketball, you know, we had players like myself who were a little bit lazy, and we talked about players either staying ready or getting ready for the season. You know, if you continue to scrim, continue to put in the work, it'll limit your breaks and continue to put in the work in scrims and practice over and over again. You are going to stay ready, as opposed to teams that wait to maybe like 3 weeks before a major event, like the quadrant event that is coming soon. And, you know, and they say maybe we can take a little bit of a longer extended break. They might come in a little bit fresher, but are they coming in as warmed up, as good as Native Whites and some of the other teams that are pulling off these upsets are looking? They've stayed ready. Some teams are getting ready, and as of right now, this is Native White's time to eat. I'm loving it right now.
And it's all about being prepared, right? You have the moments. Preparation is what wins you games, and so far this Native White roster had never stopped preparing. It's scrim after scrim. Remember, it wasn't what, 3 weeks ago before Charlotte where we were talking about whether this Native White roster was going to get out of open bracket, right? Where people were really low on this roster, and now they've cemented themselves as a top 4 team. I mean, let's be honest with ourselves. G1, everyone had them fighting top 4, top 3, but with what we've seen, the results that have been displayed, this Native White roster, I think, has firmly situated themselves in that conversation where they are top 4, right? And now I think G1 and some of these other teams who haven't quite been able to keep up with this guy, with this team's speed, are suddenly looking on the outside in and trying to replicate the success that this team has seen. And honestly, Tapping Buttons and Barcode working together, when they're clicking, they're dangerous, man. 49 kills from Tapping Buttons, 43 from Barcode in that game 3.
And I feel like it makes sense, you know. Tapping Buns and Barcode are two players that play extremely fast. They're high damage dealing players, but they're also players that understand how to stay alive and play their lives. So even when they're not getting the overwhelming kills, what's gonna happen is they're gonna get the assist. And the likes of Gilkies and McQuinn, the ones who are backing them up and playing that back roll, are going to just come in for the cleanups with the bait and switch. You'll see time and time again, Native White, they play in twos. They love that bait and switch. They love to overwhelm one player that's being isolated and take advantage of that. So whether it's them with their damage leading to kills or assists, either way, it's effective. Native White play winning Halo when it comes to securing their slates.
Bound, when he needs to respond, he responds loudly, right? Perfect kill over tapping buttons to secure the spawns that are most important. Expect teams to fight for this backseat position. That's why Gilky pushes all the way back. You want to make sure you have C spawns when you're getting into this hill. If you have C spawns, you have the ability to constantly refill numbers into fighting. And look at that disruptor pistol go. Gilky getting the long range chain reaction. Stellar stays alive, but Barcode's got the cleanup for now, and the spawn in favor of Native White.
Electrifying plays coming out of Gilky and Barcode charging into what you might think is a 1v1, but maybe a 1v3 right there. McWin even getting caught over toward the flank and taken down. On the bottom right hand side of your screen, you're seeing that in FaZe versus Avengers leading right now 1-0. It is upset city up in here in this 2K, and I'm loving every bit of it.
Yeah, the competition's getting closer and closer as time goes on. Penguin gets the double kill, and now finally Space Station's going to be able to get some time, and they have the setup that they want, right? You see Native White spawning towards A. They're going to have to fight into this hill through the BRs of Space Station. It's going to take them time to get to the spots that they want, to get the positions, but once one kill comes in, the rest start to follow, and here comes the flood. Penguin, you got to skate away. The rest of Native White are hunting you down.
McWin off the top rope with the 5-star frog splash, like right in the middle, say, here I am, as the rest of Native White are putting in the damage, but high risk, high reward. It's gonna pay off. SSG ends up going 3 down. Once again, Native White get that control, and more important, control on the C side of the map, which is where I like to be on this middle hill as well. Not only is it more dominant, not only do you have that coverage, but I can imagine once you take over here and that hill moves over to long haul, it's a shorter distance for you to just hop right back in to your next setup.
Right now, McWin, he's fighting for this back C spawn. Remember how important this one is, but Eco's hiding in the back here, and McWin, he needs to fall forward. He needs to get into these fights. The problem is that Space Station's quick to refill, and although no one's getting time in the hill right now, that fight dictates who's gonna have better positioning for this hill. Space Station wins it. Space Station has better access, but Gilky has the equalizer, right? This shock rifle can make all the difference.
And Gilky dropping White down, able to finish off that player with the shock rifle, and more importantly, able to stay alive. You're sitting on the orange side. You see tapping buttons coming in from yeah, always within elbows length of his teammate, covering his back. Eventually, now becomes a 1v1, and Eco full shields is not able to get the kill. Oh my gosh, Gilky just did Gilky things. My gosh.
Yeah, Gilky's being a bad man at the back of hill, but Bound finally shuts him down. Native White have 2 players at C-Plat to look through into that hill, and they have time, right? They don't necessarily have to be so reactive to players jumping into this hill. They just need to get the important kills. And Barco, he's in a 1v3. He almost gets 2. But there we go. Space Station finds the break. Time is close to winning for Native White. They might just give this one up. They are going to have to give it up. And Bound's going to have to win the rotation for next.
But the problem is that Bound is by himself, and you're seeing 3 members of Native White starting to surround him. 1 over toward the glass side, 2 coming over toward the C side. He gets overwhelmed and he gets taken out. And now, once again, a setup that maybe should have been in favor of SSG is broken early, and Native White are the ones that get first progression on the second hill. Gilky now with camouflage hiding in plain sight, waiting for anybody to extend. Couple early shots onto Bound, but it's going to reveal his location, and Gilky gets taken out.
Now you start to see the collapse of Space Station coming through, getting kill after kill. Hill transfers hands, and this is what I like to call a money hill, right, Tony? So hard to break into this hill when you're spawning so far away, and you see how Space Station immediately expand. Look at how far forward Penguin and Bound are, but it's a dual-edged sword, right? It can hurt you at the end of the day if they go down too early. NAT White just rip open the spawns at the seams, and that's one of the most effective breaks you could possibly see on a hill that's so hard to guarantee.
And now I'm trying to find out why I never went over that long haul hill, man. I'm broke. I'm too broke to win over a money hill. I ain't got no chance. I ain't got no change in my pocket to win a money hill. But long haul ends up in the hands of NAT White, the same as that middle one. So it's a 2-0 lead for NAT White. Again, going up against SSG, the team that never dropped out of grand finals on LAN literally all season one long. One of the more impressive teams of season one, but NAT White are really the story so far here. Early setup for SSG. NAT White find himself on the outside looking in, and if it continues like this, we might see the first hill going towards Space Station Gaming.
Yeah, this is another money hill on the map. So hard to break through. Same problem, right? Isolated in that back corner, and in fact has better defensive lines to work with, and that's why you're seeing NAT White just not even bother to try to push into that hill. They don't need to be shaken down for any of that loose change, as they're gonna fight for this next. Tapping buttons, not gonna be able to stop Eco from that top cross, and that's gonna lose them the camouflage. But Gilkey was quick to retaliate, able to get those kills, and Gilkey's important just to stay alive. This shock rifle needs to stay up, and he also needs to keep influencing the spawns towards C-Plat and Glass. He can also take down a couple. Eco, he's up next, but Bound has his help from the back rope. Oh my God, Gilkey's been insane with that shock rifle.
I love how his responsibility turns from staying alive, but once he got those first 2 kills, now it's okay, let me just do this early damage so that as my teammates are coming off a spawn, they may not have had numbers advantage, but they definitely had like timing and shield advantage. And well played by Gilkey to understand that after the double kill, to keep pushing forward, keep doing that damage. Sadly, it doesn't look like it works the way they wanted to, because SSG is still able to hold on to their setup. Gilkey comes right in, taking one down with that disruptor. Eco gonna follow up through the long haul side, able to take down 1, but not 2. 3 go down for SSG. Bound, the final player that's gonna try to hold the line here, but a player sneaks over towards Hill.
Remember, the new update in this season makes the hill so much easier to try to fight through, because that repulsor no longer spawns in the hill. It's over at that island, and that's something, if you break this hill, you have to sincerely think about going and getting that repulse, going out of your way, because look how easy it would be to take Penguin off the map. For the players that are coming from the back, so often you can just repulse them and forget about them. But if you don't have it, then suddenly your flank is hyper exposed, and that's where you're gonna find these breaks as Eco tries to get into that back hill. But it's gonna be Miquin who's just staying alive. Eco just can't find him.
He's looking kill with the sidekick. Oh, if he would have landed that stick, that would have been crazy. Finally, McWin ends up going down, but clearly the damage has been done. Multiple players going down for SSG. Eco even down to 1 shot, but where's the rest of the players to come in for the cleanup? Tapping buttons comes in for the challenge, wins his individual pivotal fight, goes right in after the 1 shot. Stellar, even with camo, somehow able to eagle eye him. Not good enough for the kill. NAT White might be up 2-1 at the moment here, but with them going 3 down and SSG still in that hill, this is troublesome.
You can't hide from Stellar. Stellar, though, commits too early to that kill, and it's going to leave the flank exposed for Bound. It's going to give NAT White maybe another opportunity to get through. Miquin alive at that control tower still, and there we go. They do find the break into the hill just in time, but they haven't found the kill on Bound, and he's a one-man army to take down at points. Miquin's going to be able to get the job done. And NAT White, they're deceptively close to capturing this hill, Tony.
2 members in the hill, but both of them happen to be 1 shot, and that's just easy. Shooting fish in a barrel here, or fish in the blue pipes here for Space Station Gaming, who finally get the slays they were looking for, or which one that blue pipes, finish out that hill, and now are moving over towards the A side. Neither team able to set up completely yet, but it is SSG that do have those A side spawns at the moment.
Remember how important the disruptor pistol can come into play on this hill. as long as the shock rifle as well as Gilkey pulls that in. That hill, if you can get the shock pistol or the shock rifle ready to combat players out of that hill, you can at least zone it out. But I don't think SSG's had access to those weapons, and now they're gonna have to fight through this hill, and they have to break out Gilkey first. Getting those back A spawns are vital to getting this break, because if not, the players are just gonna constantly spawn at back elevator and refill their position in the hill.
My favorite strategy is getting that disruptor or shock rifle over to the tower side. You just have a nice clear angle over towards that hill pad, as Gilkey steals the camouflage with that grapple. Even having shock rifle as well, lines it up, can't quite find the heady, but luckily has the teamwork with them, finishes off Stellar. Gilkey able to stay alive with the active camouflage, and now he has tower control with the shock rifle. Eco, watch your head. Swanner's coming in for SSG. Endo getting good spawns indeed, but Native White are aware of it, and they're closing in fast.
I mean, that's so effective from Native White. They just absolutely obliterate Space Station out of elevator. And what could have been a dangerous position for Native White, giving up those elevator spawns, turns out to be a benefit, because they're going to get a clean wipe. And now Gilkey, he hides in the back, but they nade it, but they don't check it, Tony. The sound cue didn't come in time. It's going to be a free double for Gilkey.
And I'm really surprised by that. I mean, the nade check comes in, obviously, so they knew a player could have been there, but I was surprised you didn't hear like the player grunting after getting hit by that grenade. I guess there was just too much going on, but Gilkey able to hide in the corner and make a play with that double kill and that sidekick. Well played by Gilkey, but will it be enough? 3-2 lead for Native White. 9 more seconds to keep them out. That's all they need, is just 9 seconds. As of right now, SSG are in desperation mode, just beelining over toward the hill. But with the 3 down, that's gonna be it. 4 get wiped out off a spawn, even getting shredded. McWin able to put him down to 1-shot. Barcode should be able to finish it out. And just like that, Native White have taken down the favorites, and SSG, they're being sent home.
Native White played a phenomenal game through and through, so effective and honestly so resilient through this. Not many teams can bounce back from such a devastating game 1 loss, but Native White, they did everything they needed, and it was close games throughout, but Native White found the edge. They found the clutch factor that had been eluding them when it came to facing these top 3 teams. Remember, at Charlotte, it was a 3-0 sweep for SSG. Now you get a couple more weeks of repetitions, you get a bit more practice, you stay prepared, and then you execute when it matters the most. Grand Finals bound is this Native White roster, and things are getting shaky in the Halo Championship Series. Nothing is free anymore. Teams can find upsets left and right. We've seen that in the losers bracket. Space Station is not going to be an easy road back to get into Grand Finals.
I dare anybody to show me their bracket that had Native White both upsetting FaZe in a game 5 and even upsetting SSG and making it to the Grand Finals through the winners bracket. I defy anybody to show me their bracket that have this, but Native White looking absolutely incredible so far here in this tournament. Whether it was Sunday, Thursday, doesn't matter what day. This 2K belongs to Native White. And wasn't it not too long ago that Native Red came out with the win? Like, these 2Ks are just all native. That's it. Native White, Native Red, but King J might start up Native Black again. I don't know what's going on, but Native looking diffy when it comes to these Open Series 2K tournaments.
And honestly, it's a prop to the owners and management over at Native Gaming, who went out and put trust in players like McWin to go build a roster and say, hey, build yourself a championship caliber team. And I think a lot of players were like, oh yeah, we want to root for this team, but we don't, in their heart they wanted it, but their brain they didn't believe. But now I think things are shifting. Now Native White's becoming this roster that not only do you want them to succeed, you know they can succeed, right? Grand Finals bound is their way. They look phenomenal through and through, upsetting teams left and right. And there might be some more upsets to happen in the elimination bracket, Tony, because I just got word that FaZe is down 0-2 against Avengers right now. And the games, they weren't particularly close. Game 1, 250 to 76 in favor of Avengers. And Livefire Slayer, 50 to 43. Avengers is going on a miracle run through our elimination bracket.
It's upset city. Upset after upset. We're already down to the top 4, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. We know what it's going to be. Native White so far going to be guaranteed top 2 in this tournament no matter what happens at the moment. You know, upsets across the board. Now we have SSG being dropped down to elimination bracket, and the winners of Avengers and FaZe go up against SSG. I definitely didn't have Avengers and Native White in my